Here's a real classic from Hoagy Carmichael. The best known version of this song, I guess, is by Ray Charles. I was lucky enough to see Ray Charles perform this in Paris in an open-air concert with a full orchestra in the early 80s. I was playing on some radio station and we'd wangled a couple of tickets. I didn't know really who Ray Charles was. I didn't know much about this song, but what I did know is that everybody was crying, myself included. There's just something about this song. There's a fantastic sense of nostalgia that's inescapable. Of course, everybody's covered this. Willie Nelson's version is the one that I'm sort of basing my version on. At least it's in the same key as his with the capo on the first fret. I'm playing it as if in C. He's recorded it in D flat. At least there's an acoustic guitar part in that version. But none of the well-known versions include the intro to the song. Very often, songs that were written for musicals or for Broadway or for films include a separate intro part and acts as a kind of preamble to the song, sets the scene for the drama to come, I guess. And as these songs transitioned into the repertoire of singers like Ella Fitzgerald or Louis or Ray Charles, for instance, often these intros drop by the wayside. So although I'm going to play something a bit like Willie Nelson's version, I'm also going to tack the intro section onto the beginning, which he doesn't do. But there you are, an added bonus. So we'll look at the verse first. That's not difficult. And then I am going to go back and just give you a little idea of what the intro should be like. Now, we've got 4 beats to the bar, but they're swung. So you might either think of this as being in 4/4 with a triplet feel or a straight 12/8. The drums actually on the Willie Nelson version play a 12/8 pattern that's kind of insistent. Doesn't really matter to the guitar so much because we're playing the bass note on the first beat, strumming the rest of the chord on the second beat and repeating for beats 3 and 4. But if we catch the strings with an up strum, boom, da, jing, ja, bonk, ja, ding, da, they're definitely delayed, they're swung, it's not even. It's dum, ja, dum, ja, dum, ja, dum, ja. That's the feel we're after. Anyway, we've got a bar of C, a bar of E7, and then we go to A minor. It's an absolutely iconic chord sequence. Georgia, Georgia, A minor. In that E7 bar, because E7's taking us to A minor, there's an opportunity here to play a passing bass note. Sounds grand, but listen, if you've got C here, when we get onto the E7, maybe play the 5th string instead of the 6th string. 2nd fret of the 5th string is a B. So that B takes us down to A minor. C, B, A, that kind of a thing. You might do that for one of the E7 bass notes or not, both of them, neither, doesn't really matter. The other thing to say about that E7, and this is kind of tempting to do, hammering on in this key and in this style, giving it a bluesy feel. Hammering on the first finger onto the 1st fret of that 3rd string as I'm strumming, or maybe on the 1st beat I'm actually going to pick the strings as well to give it a little bit of colour there. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Okay, so we carry on. A minor. 2 beats later, I'm going to bring the little finger down for A minor with a G in the bass. That's going to take us down to F. So the whole of that first section has this descending bass line that's hinted at, even if it's not clearly played all the time. Once we've got to that F, now we turn around and come back up again. F sharp diminished. Okay. Now I've got my bar established on the 1st fret for the F chord, so I'm going to leave it there. Really, for F sharp diminished, you only need a bar across the 2nd to 4th frets, but I'm going to keep it there. It gives me a bit more leverage anyway. And then I'm coming back up to C, but if I put a G in the bass, then I get this rising bass line. F, F sharp, G. That's going to take me up to the A7 that follows. All right? So Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. keeps, D minor 7, Georgia, G7, on my, and now we finish up with 2 beats each of E7, mine, A7, D7, G7. And he puts in a detail occasionally, and I think he does it here. With that D7, if we add, I'm putting the little finger here on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, that's going to give me D7 augmented, D7 sharp 5 if you like. Okay. G7 likewise, he doesn't do it in the first verse, but you know, there's quite a lot of this in the song, or at least opportunity for this. Let's try this chord instead. This is now a G7 sharp 5 or G7 augmented. It's a really useful shape. My first finger's on the 3rd fret of the bottom string, 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the 4th, and then my 3rd and 4th fingers are up on the 4th fret of the 2nd and 3rd strings. Little finger up on the 5th fret would give me a straight 13 chord, but this is a sharp 5. So, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. That's what he does there. The second verse is exactly the same except for the ending. I'll sing you that. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the... Now we get to C. Pines, F7, back to C, and the middle 8 starts on an A minor. We change key to A minor, so we want a big E7 here, and then other arms. But that E7, that really wants to launch us into the next section, so I'm going to do this instead here. This is like a C7 shape, just moved up until my first finger's on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And the thing about this is, because I've got that 3rd finger there on the 7th fret, I could do a little chromatic climb up. Okay, moonlight through the pine. That kind of thing. I quite like that sort of thing there. First finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string, 2nd finger on the 6th, and that 3rd finger comes out on the 7th. And that's going to give me a nice launch into the bridge section. Okay, now the bridge section, or middle 8, is 8 bars long. We're in A minor here, and the rhythm intensifies a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just chop those strums like that. As I strum, I'm going to bring the heel of my palm down onto the strings. Just to create a bit more profile here. Anyway, 2 beats of A minor to 2 beats of D minor 7 and back. Then it's F7. And same again. And this time it goes to D7. A D7's a little bit bright and brittle up there. How about this? You could either just play this D7, which is like that E7 shape we just played, but starting 2 frets lower, so it's like a C7 shape, moved up a couple of frets, or D9, that's just a bit more colour, isn't it? So the whole of that first section, other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly. Then again, A minor, still and peaceful to D minor 7. And this time we go 2 beats of C, and then the rhythm kind of relaxes a bit here. Still and peaceful dreams I see, to a B7. And now we've got this E minor 7, E flat 7, D minor 7, G7. So I'm actually going to play my E minor up there. E minor 7 is an A minor 7 shaped barred on the 7th fret. Remember, you got a capo on the 1st fret, so it's actually the 8th fret of the guitar. Then I'm going to do my E flat 7 right there, D minor 7 here. It just makes it easy, because that E flat 7, where are you going to play that otherwise? You You could do that, but you know. And then G7, in fact, I'm going to put my little sharp 5 augmented chord in there. So the whole of that bridge section. Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Into the third verse. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. And this third verse we end initially exactly the same as the second verse, C, F7, C, but now we go back to the start, so I'm going to put my G7 sharp 5 in there. At this point on the Willie Nelson track there's a harmonica solo. I'm going to put a saxophone solo in because that's what I like to do. And then we get 8 bars, equivalent to the first verse if you like, as that instrumental solo. And then what he does is he picks up the third verse to play into an outro. So I'll just play you that. What happens here is after 6 bars of the verse, Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find. This is the lyrics for the third verse. This is what he plays. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my. And at this point, we get a bar each. This is the outro now of E7, mind, to A7. To D minor 7, just an old sweet song keeps G7, Georgia on my. Now it's the outro, and he just plays C to F7 to C to F7. He's got horns and all sorts coming in here, and it gets quite funky. That goes out to fade. On my mind. On my mind. All that stuff, yeah. Okay. All right, that's all I got. Let's have a little playthrough. Oops, I realised I totally forgot to talk about the intro that I promised, but also, although Willie Nelson doesn't play the original intro, there is an intro to his version. Just before his guitar comes in, there's an organ playing na-da-dee-da-da-da, na-da-dee, that kind of a thing, and then he comes in with this. So he ends up with the first finger barring across the 5th fret of the 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings, but 6, 7, 8. He starts up here, 8th fret, barring with that first finger, 2nd, 3rd and 4th strings, and then he's got another finger, this is what I hear anyway, on a fret higher, so that's going to be the 9th fret. Bear in mind we've got a capo on, so it looks like the 10th fret, 9th fret of the guitar on that 3rd string. So we've got that little shape, and then he just moves that down a fret and another fret, and then we end up, as I say, barring across to make that C triad on the 5th fret there. So na da dee da da, ba da ba dee da da. Georgia, and then he's off. Okay, but the original intro is a bar of C, E7 and A7, like this. Melodies bring memories that linger in my. And now we've got D7, G7, heart. Now it's C, E7, A minor, so just like the verse really, but 2 beats of C. Makes me think of Georgia. There's my A minor for a bar. Again, D7, G7. Why did we ever part? G7. And that just repeats. Some sweet day when blossoms fall and all the world's a song, I'll go back to Georgia, 'cause that's where I belong. And then G7 or our G7, sharp 5 to kick us off, and then we're into the verse. Okay, so maybe now we can have a playthrough. 1, 2, 3, 4. Melodies bring memories that linger in my heart, makes me think of Georgia. Why did we ever part? Some sweetened day when blossoms fall and all the world's a song, I'll go back to Georgia, 'cause that's where I belong. Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, what song of you comes so sweet and clear as moonlight through the pine. Other arms reach out to me, other eyes smile tenderly, still in peaceful dreams I see the road leads back to you. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. All right. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. On my mind. That's it.